There's a long drive out there to center field. It's up, it's up, it's going, it's going, it's gone! I was born in Nashville, Tennessee on April the 9th, 1923, on a street called Boscobel Street, and it's known as East Nashville. And I don't know how long we lived there, but from there we moved back out toward West End, where we lived in that general area the rest of my life and growing up in Nashville. The first place I really could remember, we had an apartment above a store, a grocery store, right on the corner of 28th and West End Avenue. And that was quite a nice thing. We could go down some steps and go into the store like a back door. So that was kind of great. We must have lived there for a couple of years because I was going to a kindergarten over in Centennial Park, and I pulled a big boo-boo on my parents. They asked kids, does your parents make wine or do your parents make homebrew? And me, I thought it was great. Yeah, my father makes wine. And the word got out that we don't know what they was going to do, but the word got out that they was asking the kids, and my parents got scared and they poured out their wine. They poured it down the sink.
Because is that during the
Prohibition? Yeah. And no, but I didn't know. But I can remember that pretty vivid because they were kind of upset with me. My father was a brick mason, and my mother worked for the Western Union as a telegraph operator. And she worked there all her life. Back then, I guess the Depression was starting. They had what they called a split trick. She would go in the morning at 7 and probably work till 10, 11, then come home and go back when business started picking up at 4 and work till 8 or 9 at night. She worked that for a long, long time until the Depression got over. We was 28 blocks from the center of downtown. Downtown Nashville, we had probably 5 or 6 big department stores, including a Sears and Roebuck's and a Montgomery Ward's, Cressy's, 5 and 10. We had Grant's, we had Woolworth downtown, and that's something that our kids will never see. 5 and 10 cent stores, you know. Oh, I have some pictures of my early life, and the first one I got here is when I was, I guess I'm about a year or 2 years old, and I can't swear to it, but they tell me it was me. The next picture is the first fish I ever caught.
Right.
It was down in Linden, Tennessee, where my father grew up, and it was quite a catch.
Yeah.
It was a catfish, to believe it or not. They'd have coal delivered to their homes starting in September, and they'd try to get enough coal in to last the winter. And most people had barns to put it in back then. You got smoke in the houses back then due to the stoves and stuff. Well, at first we only had grates. When I first remember that the first homes we only had grates. Then later on we got heaters. And still the smoke would get in the rooms and get up in the ceiling. So people about every 2 years would have the walls repapered. And then I guess we must at one time had 12 or 15 sheets of wallpaper on our walls. You know, I started out selling Saturday Evening Post magazines first, and I think I got a 2 cents or a cent and a half. Then I started selling the Liberty magazine, which was a little more risque, I think, and they were a lot more popular, so you could sell them a lot easier. And then I jumped up to selling newspapers. And the first job I had, I was helping a guy selling. He had the route or the ability to get the papers, and I didn't. And I worked for him just for tips. Paper were a nickel, and most people, 3 cents, and most people would give you a nickel. So everyone I sold when I was working for him, I got 2 cents on everyone I sold. It was quite funny how I met Robbie. Not many people meet their wife on a tennis court. We was driving by, three of us from a car, and we looked over at the tennis court in Centennial Park, and there's 3 girls playing tennis. And I lived a block away from there. So we went to my tennis rackets, so we went down my house and got some tennis rackets and came back up there.